Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We will chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We will chant from verses 68 to 72 of chapter 2. Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
nigrihitani sarvashah,
nigrihitani sarvashah,
indriyani-indriyarthebhyah,
indriyani-indriyarthebhyah,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
tasyam jagarti sanyami,
tasyam jagarti sanyami,
yasyam jagrati bhutani,
yasyam jagrati bhutani,
sa nisha pashyato muneः,
sa nisha pashyato muneः,
आपूर्यमाणमचल प्रतिष्ठम्,
आपूर्यमाणमचलप्रतिष्ठम्,
समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्,
समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्,
तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे,
तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे,
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी,
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी,
विहाय कामान् यः सर्वान्,
विहाय कामान्यः सर्वान्,
पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः,
पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः,
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः,
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः,
स शान्तिमधिगच्छति,
स शान्तिमधिगच्छति,
एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ,
एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ,
नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति,
नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति,
स्थित्वा Stitva syamantakaalepi
Stitva syamantakaalepi
Brahma nirvana mricchati.
Brahma nirvana mricchati.
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So in the last session, we were seeing the subtler points of Spriha. On one hand, it means craving. On the other hand, it directly means envy, jealousy, and it also indirectly refers to arrogance. So what is very interesting is that when we take the other dimension, that is envy and arrogance, that is something totally artificial. Why he's saying that it is a big block with respect to the spiritual progress is that in spirituality we always focus on being very natural. Actually, if you don't do anything, when I say if don't do anything, I mean right from the deepest aspect within you, from the emotional level and the deep emotions, deep thoughts, from your depth, if you are just yourself without any conditioning, that is what we call as a natural state. The moment you get conditioned by something, then it becomes an unnatural state. A typical example would be, you take a person who drinks alcohol. Now, when he is sober before drinking alcohol, he is in a natural state. But the moment he comes under the influence of the alcohol, then he comes out of that naturality. Now you will never take him very seriously. Supposing if he is fully drunk and he comes and tells you, I'll give you 1 million rupees. Now, will you take him very seriously? You'll tell him, fine, all that is fine, we'll see about it tomorrow. Why? Because you want the effect of alcohol to wear away. Then only what he says has any meaning, because he gets into his natural state. So the natural state of the tail of a dog is to be bent, curled. Now, if you condition it by straightening it using an external force, then what happens is that it is in an unnatural state. So the conditioning usually happens whenever there is an external object, external force involved. When an external object, when I say object, I mean an object, a person, it could be anything. When that comes and influences you, when that comes and conditions you, or rather you allow that object or that person to condition you, then you move away from naturality and you become artificial. Now, if you are 100% natural, you will instantly realize the infinite being which you are, the infinite power which is there within you will be instantly realized by you. So we can conclude that the more unnatural you become, the more your consciousness is moving away from the infinite. So when we come to nirmamaha, no possessiveness, again it's a same point in a slightly different way which he is giving here. So the principle is this only. 100% naturality is spirituality, and the more you move away from the state of naturality, you are actually moving away from the infinite. So when you take this dimension of spriha, which is envy or arrogance, both together, now when is it that you feel envious or jealous? Only when you compare yourself with some other person. I told you, when an external force, an object or person influences you, then you move away from the natural state. So once you start comparing yourself with another person, now you can no longer live your life, because all these factors which he is giving, they are all factors which actually support you to practice the sadhana of charity. What is the sadhana of charity? Charity means living a full life and completing your experiences. So when you compare yourself with some other person, then you become either jealous, because if that person has more than you, you get into a state of jealousy. If that person has less than you, then you get into a state of arrogance. Now in both these states, if you were to carefully analyze, you will find that you are not being yourself, you are not being natural. From a relative sense, I am not talking of from the absolute sense 100% naturality, which is being one with the infinite. From the relative sense, whatever nature you have, you need to nurture that. You need to purify your limited self, your jivatma, and slowly evolve. But when you're going to compare yourself with another person, now your focus has shifted from yourself for self-purification to another person. Now you will artificially try to mold yourself and mold your life in order to become equal to the other person. This is all in your mind only. If that person is above you, you will try to become equal to that person. If that person is below you, you will try to move away, because you will be so arrogant. So even though that looks very real to you, that looks as if it is natural, it is actually not natural, because a person has sent a question saying that, sir, isn't jealousy, there is envy and arrogance, all these emotions, are they not natural? They are actually not natural. See, when an object is in an undisturbed state, that is what we call as naturality. So here, you are in a state of disturbance. You have been disturbed by another person. That is why the envy or the arrogance comes. Just imagine the situation where you bought a beautiful car. Okay, you have a wonderful car, a wonderful house, but you are living in a place all alone. no one else is there. Now, will you develop any kind of envy or jealousy? No. Will you develop any kind of arrogance that yes, I have a car? Because whom are you going to show it to? Another person, if he does not have a car, only you can show and become arrogant. But when there is no one to compare with, now automatically the envy and arrogance don't arise. That is the state of naturality. Now the solution is not in moving away from people. The solution is to stop comparing yourself with people, with others. So this is a common mistake which people make. They take their negative emotions and they say, isn't it natural? It is not natural because it is with reference to an external object. But since you have been in that state for a long time, you have forgotten what the natural state is. So you think this is only natural. Whatever is artificial is confused by the mind to be natural. You know, in psychology they say that if you tell a lie some 182 times or something, then you yourself will start believing that lie. What is not true will become true to you. It may sound unbelievable, but that is what they say. So the mind is so deadly. What is not real can become real to you just out of sheer habit. What is actually artificial, what is not natural, can look as if it is very natural for you. Because the person who was asked a question has, not only said, isn't this natural? I can't imagine myself without all this. Isn't it natural to crave for things? Isn't it natural to be jealous? Isn't it natural to be arrogant? Of course, he is also asked about ego and possessiveness and all these things that we'll be seeing as we go further into the verse. But first you need to understand the difference between what is natural and what is artificial. So in spirituality we always say, just be yourself. Just being yourself doesn't mean you don't put any effort to purify yourself or evolve. That is not the meaning. And it is said just be yourself, it means don't compare yourself with anyone. See, that person may be excellent in something. You may get inspired by that quality and you may try to acquire that quality. That is okay. But if you start comparing yourself with the other person, then you lose the spirit of learning. Instead of learning, now you tend to artificially mold yourself. Because you need to be careful about the various tricks the mind will play. When you're trying to practice this sincerely, the mind will try to play a lot of tricks. One of the tricks is this only. Isn't all this natural? So when an iron piece, when it is covered by mud for a very long time, when you bring a magnet, now the iron piece no longer feels any attraction towards the magnet because of the mud. It means it is in an unnatural state. The natural state of an iron piece is to get attracted to the magnet. Now if you keep removing all the covering, the mud which is there, thereafter it will get back to its natural state. It will get attracted to the magnet and go and stick to it. Similarly, when your mind is covered by a lot of impurities, now you lose your naturality. Actually, if you think about it, the entire world is living a very artificial life. See, today, your existence is defined by the various objects in the world. One person told me, I can't just imagine life without a cell phone. Now my question, the question which I asked that person is, okay, then how did people live before the cell phone? I'm not against cell phones. See, if you say cell phone is very useful, it has made life much more comfortable, up to that it is okay. Then you are using the cell phone. But the moment you say, I can't live without a cell phone, then your life has become artificial. If you admire a good quality in a person and say, oh, he has a wonderful quality, I will also try to develop it since that is inspiring me. This is fine. But if you start comparing yourself with that person and if you feel low and you develop envy, then that is becoming artificial. If you look at someone who is lower than you, who does not have something which you have, and if you feel, oh, that person does not have, now I am fortunate to have it, so I am so grateful to God that I have this. Now can I be of any service to others who are less fortunate? If this is your thought, that is fine, because you are in control over the situation. But the moment you start comparing yourself with that person and you develop a superiority complex, arrogance, then you have lost that naturality. So the world is meant for you to experience and enjoy. There is no doubt about it. Every object in the world may have a role in your life. Of course, not all. You will decide what you would like to have. Or up to that it is fine. But the moment you get into the feeling that I cannot live without all these things, then that is a very, very artificial state. It is artificial living, superficial living. If you see, why are wars happening? Why have wars happened right from time immemorial? Because of this comparison only. When a person feels that that person shouldn't have more than me, then only the conflict arises. Any kind of conflict takes you away from the state of peace. When you are in your natural state, you are in a state of shanti, peaceful. When you are in an artificial state, you lose that peace. So don't give in to this trick of the mind where it is trying to convince you by saying all the negative qualities are all natural. They look natural to you because of your long-term association with them. Supposing you move away from your home and you're working somewhere else, initially you will find it difficult to adjust, but after a while you will get used to that. But someday, when your contract gets over, you will have to come back to your home. I know people who feel quite sad about it. They feel uncomfortable. So your the uncomfortableness, the uncomfortable feeling which you get when you're trying to evolve is like that. So there is a natural, you're in a natural state, you become artificial. For a long time you are in that state, so that has created an illusion of naturality. Now when you want to go back to your original state, the mind feels very restless. But if you keep doing your sadhana, all the covering, the mud covering, all the dirt which you have accumulated within you will be washed away. Every session of your sadhana is purifying you to a little extent. No effort is going wasted. Every empowerment session you attend, a lot of dirt is being cleared. Now, as the dirt gets cleared up, you will gain that clarity as to who you are at the relative level first. That is relative naturality. And then when you do more and more sadhana, when you get the higher empowerments from the master, what happens is your true nature starts exposing itself. Your true nature is the infinite, not all these. Your true nature is a nature of peace, not a state of stress or agitations. So all the spiritual truths look difficult because of this only, because of your long-term association with the negativities. If a person has a long-term association with positive energy, now he or she will get used to that. Thereafter, going back to the negative traits will become difficult. So you should go on doing your sadhana till your mind becomes incapable of getting into a negative state. Once you reach that state, thereafter you will become ready for very high level empowerments, Is this clear? Now, this is a very important point which I am giving you all. This is a very important point for a sadhak, because a sadhak is one who wants to perfect himself or herself, who wants to purify himself. Now, in the process of purification, these are the practical problems which you will face. Your own mind is your enemy. Your own mind is your friend also. In one of the late chapters later on, Krishna will be saying that your mind is your friend, your mind is your enemy. So that is why it is so important that you become a master of your mind, so that you can utilize your mind to your advantage. When you are a slave to your mind, now the mind has no direction, no dimension. That will keep taking you everywhere. You will get completely lost in all the negative energy, the negative emotions and negative thoughts. Thereafter you will find that it is almost impossible to come out of that cocoon. That is where, when you appeal to the higher Shakti, when you surrender to the Guru Shakti, and when you do your sadhana sincerely, it will literally act as an uplifting force. It will just uplift you from that cocooned state. So, nisprihaha, and then we started seeing this. Nirmamaha and nirahankara, two magnificent qualities he is giving. Actually, he has given the very crux of spirituality in this verse. You see, you don't need to even study all the scriptures. If you just study this one word, nirahankara, that is more than enough. If you go to its fullest depth, nirahankara is the path, that is being free of ego. Of course, since a person will not have the capacity to go into that kind of depth, that is why these masters are giving various other factors also which will support you in your path. The penetrative capacity is not so strong today. In the good old days, just one line, one word, like that it was given, and the students used to contemplate. Not merely intellectual contemplation, but they used to meditate on that, nididhyasana. And they used to go so deep into that, deep into themselves in that process. And they used to attain enlightenment. But since that capacity started coming down, that is when the masters started giving various other things also. So some variety to the mind. Not only variety, the various supportive practical tips, so that it can compensate for the lack of penetrativeness. So, aham means I. You may call it ego, but actually aham means I. When that aham is fully expanded, that is the state of a sthita prajna, that is the state of realization. Aham Brahma Asmi. Aham Brahma Asmi means I am that supreme Brahman. That is not a state of ego, that is the expanded I. When the same I gets conditioned by the physical body, by the mind and its emotions, and by the intellect and its various thoughts and ideologies, then it produces ego. The conditioned I, which is what we call as the conditioned consciousness, the chit, that gives rise to ahankar. Ahankaraha means aham karaha. The entire life starts revolving around that conditioned I. We will be getting into more depth regarding this. Actually, if you really ask me, next several years I can only keep giving you the deeper messages of nirahankara, but we are not going to do that. We will, I'll give you a few points here, and then as we go along, in different contexts, the same things will be coming. So depending upon the context, I'll keep adding more and more dimensions throughout our journey. At one go, it is not possible for you to grasp the whole thing. So we are only making a start in this verse. See, remember, the second chapter, which is Sankhya Yoga, actually contains the whole philosophy of life. The entire spirituality is there. But to absorb the whole thing at one go is not possible. And that is why it has been expanded further in the other chapters. One aspect has been taken up and that has been expanded. Like in the 3rd chapter, Karma Yoga has been expanded. And within that Karma Yoga, many branches are there. So everything has been given out in such great detail so that you can absorb in a gradual way. You can live it in a gradual way. So, ahankaraha means, see, karaha actually means doer, doing, making. So, ahankaraha means doing everything centered around that conditioned I. When it is unconditioned, then you reach the state of Aham Brahmasmi, which is the highest. You come out of the clutches of the body, mind and intellect. You get into the 4th state called the state of Turiya. So when your actions, everything which you do is centered around Brahman or the infinite, then that is the opposite of ahankara. When it is centered around the conditioned I, it is called ahankara. When it is centered around the infinite, that is all your actions, everything which you do. Karaha means whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're manifesting. When it is centered around the infinite, that is called Brahma Karaha. Brahman means the supreme reality. Don't confuse it with Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is that is creator. Like you have Brahma, Vishnu and Rudra. That is different. Now Brahman in the neuter gender refers to that infinite supreme reality. So the fall which they are talking about is the fall from the state of Brahman, which is unconditioned I, to the state of Aham, which comes from a conditioned I. So once you get into a conditioned state of consciousness, thereafter everything which you will be doing will be related to either the physical body or the mind or the intellect. That he calls as ahankara. So the very process of spirituality is not in removing the karaha. Karaha means actions. It is not in stopping action. It is in uplifting your consciousness and moving from the conditioned I, aham, to that unconditioned state, which is Brahman. The problem is, people retain that aham, that I, and they stop activity in the name of spirituality. See, today, if you ask a common person what is spirituality, they will say spirituality means giving up everything. What they mean is giving up things externally. Supposing you give up all your wealth. Now earlier you had the ego, aham, I am wealthy. Now let us say you take up poverty, but the aham, that I am, is still there. Now instead of saying I am wealthy, I am rich, now you will say I am poor. Again your life is centered around that I only. That has not changed. Earlier you didn't know the Bhagavad Gita, what is there in the Bhagavad Gita in real depth. So at that time you said, I don't know the Bhagavad Gita, I'm in a state of ignorance. It was centering around that I. Now you get a little bit of knowledge. Now if you don't use this wisdom to purify yourself, the aham will remain, the conditioning will remain, but you will have more knowledge. So now you will say, I have the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. It has not made you any spiritual because the aham is there. So spirituality is not about having or not having things outside. It is not stopping off that karaha. Karaha is the manifestation. It is in removing the aham. Removal of aham means expanding of consciousness to become one with that infinite. This is so beautifully covered in the scripture Yoga Vasishta. It's a very voluminous scripture. It may, you will have to leave everything and get into it. That too, you require this yogic approach to be applied very, very specifically in with respect to those kind of scriptures, because otherwise chances of misunderstanding only are more. So in that, there is a beautiful story where there is a queen who is an enlightened person. She was a great yogini, She was one with the infinite. But as great masters are, she never ever exhibited her spirituality. She was very humble, doing her duties as a queen. That's how even Lord Krishna was. The fact that Arjuna asks Krishna, can you describe a perfect person, a Sthita Prajna, means he has not yet recognized Krishna as a perfect person. Krishna was so unassuming, so down to earth, practical. He was just living like any other normal person. It was only people who had depth who were able to understand the state of Krishna. So any master is like that only. If you move with a master, you will be very surprised, because you have these images in your mind from the movies and from the pictures and all that, where they always depict a master to be very serious and who is always in a particular kind of activity. No, a master is one who will just be very simple, doing all the duties. You need to have depth to even suspect that a person that is a master could be spiritual. When you don't have any depth, you will not even suspect. That was the case of that, with respect to the queen. She was so simple, doing all her duties. The king, her husband, never even suspected that she had the spiritual wisdom. So he wanted to become spiritual. He wanted to attain enlightenment. So he told her, I am going to give up all the power, position, wealth, everything which I am holding, and you take care of the kingdom from now on. I am going to go to the forest and do tapas, austerities. So the queen asked him, what for are you going to do all this? He said, in order to achieve enlightenment. Now the queen said, okay, because she was totally detached. And anyway, since he was not looking at her as a spiritual person, even if she had given any advice at that point of time, he wouldn't have given any value to that. So she said, fine. So he gave up his kingdom and everything, and he went to the forest. And he was just wearing a loin cloth, and he was living in a hut, just having one small or a couple of vessels. In one he used to carry water, that kamandalam as they called it, and Then he had a small plate where he used to collect some fruits here and there and eat. That was his lifestyle. And he was praying to God that please send me a guru. Please make me meet a master so that I can get the guidance, the higher guidance. So after the king went to the forest, the queen, when she sat for her meditation, she was able to see what was happening, and she got the higher instructions to go and guide the king. So she wondered, if I go like this anyway, he is not going to listen. So using her yogic powers, she changed her form to a sannyasi, to a young person with a long beard and all that, and he was sitting. She was actually sitting under a tree meditating. So when the king was passing by after his bath, he suddenly saw this young person, so much of tejas, She exhibited a little bit of her spiritual brilliance, so that the king gets attracted. And the king became so devotional. He went and fell down at this young person's feet and said, "Oh, I can see that you are a great master. Can you guide me?" So immediately the queen, who was in the disguise of that master, said, "Okay, I'll guide you, but there are certain conditions which you need to fulfill. You are right now, you are not prepared, you are unfit, you are not qualified to be my disciple." So the king had a lot of ego that immediately affected him. He said, "I am not qualified. Of course, I am qualified." So to which she said, "See, if you want to surrender to me, you have to surrender fully. So I will only decide whether you are qualified or not." He said, "Okay, now what should I do to become qualified?" The disguised queen told him, "You will have to give up everything. Unless and until you give up everything, I will not accept you as my disciple, because you are not fit for enlightenment." So the king immediately smiled and said, "Sir, you know who I am. I was the king previously, king of this entire state, and I gave up all my kingdom. I gave up my wealth. I gave up my family. Everything has been given up by me, and I am here in the forest. What else do you want me to give up?" So immediately she asked him, okay, he had that kamandalu with him, no? So what is that? He said, "This is a vessel in which I carry water. Whenever I am thirsty, I can drink." So she asked him, "Whose is that vessel?" He said, "It is mine." See, again that mamaha, that possessiveness and ego has come. So you have not given up everything. So immediately he threw it away. He said, "Now, what about the other plate which you have?" So like this, then she asked him, "Where do you live?" He said, "I am living in the hut there." "Whose is that hut?" "It is mine." So he went and destroyed that hut. He said, "Now I have given up everything." So he threw away his loincloth also. Everything was given up, and he said, "Now will you accept me as your disciple?" So to which she asked him, "Okay, now tell me, what is this?" She pointed out at his body and asked him, "What is this?" He said, "This is the body." Now, the body belongs to whom? The body belongs to me. It is my body. Each and every organ, she asked him, "What is this?" Eyes. Whose eyes? My eyes. What are these? Ears. Whose ears? My ears. My nose. Like this, the whole body is mine. So she said, "You have not given up everything. If you have to become my disciple, you will have to give up your possessions. I told you, no?" So then what he did is he lit a fire there. He said, I will give up my body. Thereafter, then I'll become qualified. To which the queen stopped him and said, okay, after the body is burnt, now what will happen to it? It will become ashes. Now whose ashes are they? Mine. So then you wouldn't have given up. So then he didn't know what to do. He fell at her feet and he said, Sir, please guide me. How to give up? So then she initiated him. Actually, his quest was true, It's just that he had that ego. So that is why she had to come in this disguise and everything. So she initiated him. She gave him the empowerment, the higher empowerment, and made him go through a series of meditations. And when he started doing all that sadhana, slowly, he began to understand that he is different from the physical body. And not only the physical body, I am different from the mind also, the emotions. I am different from my thoughts. So by increasing the degree of energy in every empowerment, slowly, it was a process. She made him go deeper and deeper and deeper, and finally she gave him the highest empowerment, which gave him that experience of the infinite. And then she quietly went back to the kingdom. And once he became enlightened, he realized that he doesn't need to give up all these things externally. What he needed to give up was that ego within. That is only true sannyas. So once he realized that, he understood that the role which is being given by God to him in that birth was to be a king. So he went back to the kingdom and he fulfilled all his obligations as a king. It's a beautiful, powerful story given by sage Vasishta when he was teaching Lord Rama, he gave this. This entire story actually illustrates this point. Nirahankara, nirmamaha doesn't mean giving up external things. We'll come to nirmamaha later, but first you understand and absorb this powerful message which is being given. Aham karaha. You don't need to give up that karaha. You need to give up that aham. So nihi ahankaraha means give up the aham when you're doing things. Now people take the easy way out. They retain that aham, I, and they start giving up external things. They stop acting in the name of spirituality. They start giving up various possessions, the various things. They shirk their obligatory duties in the name of spirituality, but they retain the I, aham. So earlier, a person, that is the king, was saying, I am a king, I am a family man. Now he renounced everything and he said, I am a sannyasi. That I was still remaining. So the queen, who was such a great yogini, she helped him to understand the true meaning of sannyas. Sannyas means detachment, giving up. So you don't need to give up anything. You have to give up that aham, that emphasis on that I. If you think about it, when you become egoistic, thereafter all the negative emotions are springing from that ego only. Now he is attacking the very root. He has given you many practical tips to solve all the other negative emotions, how to handle them and all that. We've been seeing in many verses, even in this verse, the envy, the arrogance and all that. But now when he says nirahankara, he is going to the root of all these. If you hit the root, now the entire tree will fall, the tree of negativity will fall. Of course, since a person will not have the capacity to do it 100%, that is why the various other things are being given. So, ahankaraha is such a beautiful construction. See, the genius of these great rishis who constructed it that way. When we translate it as ego, it doesn't actually give the full meaning of that word ahamkaraha. So spirituality is not about is not about changing things externally. Sometimes you may change things externally for convenience, that is okay. I'm talking of the spiritual growth. How should it be measured? It should be measured based on the intensity of that aham. How much is it conditioned? How much is your emphasis on your ego? So a person may be a great scholar in the scriptures, but if that has only served to feed his ego, then he is nowhere near spirituality. Even though he may be talking about spirituality, he may not be spiritual. So this is the difference between spiritual image and true spirituality. When you retain the I, but externally you give up that karaha, then what happens is you will get a spiritual image in society, because you will be doing something different from others. See, if you want to get a spiritual image, it is very simple. Whatever normally people are doing, do something different. If people are going after wealth, say I don't want wealth. If people are wearing nice clothes, now start wearing torn clothes. Start being very dirty, don't, you grow a long beard, you wear torn clothes, you do all these things. There were few masters who led such a lifestyle for a particular reason. I'm not talking of them. But generally speaking, these are the easiest things to do. Do the things which others don't do. Within a short time, you will get a spiritual image. You will become a great guru, in quotes. But a true guru, a true master, will not focus on the externalities. Actually, it is very difficult to find a true master. It is very difficult to recognize a true master. That's what I'm saying, to recognize. You may be moving with that person, but it's very difficult to recognize the full powers and full potential he has, because of a natural humility, a natural sense of not subduing himself or herself in a natural way, but in a natural, he'll just live a natural life. No emphasis on that aham, that I. Going about doing all the activities in a simple way which doesn't attract any big attention. Not wanting to be anyone. Not having any ambition to get any name, fame or image or anything. See, this confusion between spiritual image and true spirituality has led to the deterioration of the loss of this wisdom. Those who have a spiritual image are considered spiritual today. This warning was given by Adi Shankaracharya in one of the verses, in one of the verses which he wrote. He said, you may be going around the world and you may be giving pravachan, lectures to everyone, but all that doesn't make you spiritual, he says. Swami Ramakrishna, he gave a beautiful example. See, you may be quoting all the scriptures, but yet you may just be like an eagle. Eagle which is flying so high, where is its, where are its eyes looking? Down at the prey, even though it is flying high. Similarly, you may be talking of high things, but your mind may be looking at the lower things. So, nirahankara means, giving up that I. That is, how do you give up? It is only through sadhana. We will see more of this as we go along. But first, you need to absorb this magnificent construction, aham karaha. And when he adds that letter ni, nirahankara, you will have to read it as niraham and then karaha. Do everything. Karaha means doing everything in life, fulfilling all your duties in life. Without, niraham means without focusing on I, without having the I am the doer attitude. It is called kartritva bhavana. Kartritva means doership. Focusing on what you ought to do rather than the fact that you are doing it. When we come to the third chapter, the Karma Yoga, which is after 72, we have to go to the third chapter. He will be focusing a lot on this. Act without the sense of doership. Do things without being a doer. What an amazing principle. If only you can absorb a little bit of what is being said here, your whole personality will get transformed. Incidentally, when you do things without the emphasis on I, that is, without that I am the doer attitude, then you become more productive in your actions. Your actions will become very, very powerful. Everything which you say, everything which you do will start influencing others in the best possible way. But you don't want to influence anybody. You don't want any name. You don't want any fame. You are completely detached. Detached from what? Detached from that aham, that ego. So learn this principle today. Sannyas is no doubt giving up, but it is giving up of ego, not other things. Other things you may have or not have. All these things do not matter. Big difference between true spirituality and having a spiritual image. Unfortunately today, those who have developed a spiritual image are being considered as gurus and real masters. They are not known so much. It is a natural phenomenon, because where there is quality, there cannot be quantity. Adi Shankara himself had only some 14 disciples or something. Since he happened to travel around and he, the higher instructions came that he had to spread this, therefore he became known. But most of the true masters, I know so many great siddhas and holy masters who lived such a simple life. They went away unknown, And even if, I know some masters who, some people went to them and they gave a little bit of this wisdom. but they are not going to pamper to the cheap tastes of people. They are not going to do things to please others. They will not compromise on quality because they have no aham. So you tend to compromise on quality when you have this ego, aham. When you don't have ego, now you will never compromise with the quality because your focus is on the action. So you will do the action in the best possible way. So little bit when we reduce the quality, then the quantity will increase. You know, many people have suggested in a very positive, with a lot of affection, that sir, if we can tone down the quality. They have not put it in these words, but what they mean is if the format of these sessions, if this can be changed, if that can be changed, all that will reduce the quality. Then this will reach more people. It will not reach more people. The true message will not reach more people. What is the point in having millions of people listen to something when that is devoid of quality? The quality stuff will take time to spread, and the person who's focusing on quality, anyone, will not have that desire that it has to spread. If you go to the Himalayan masters, they are quite happy in a state of Purnam, completeness. The Sthita Prajna is in a state of completeness. So, nirahankara, niraham, manifest. Let all your manifestations means whatever your nature is, that is what you speak, your actions, your behavior, let everything happen naturally. But instead of centering around the ego, now center your life around that infinite God principle within you. What an inspiring sadhana this is. This is a sadhana for your life. And I'm not talking of this limited life of this body. I'm talking of the life of the soul. If you practice this nirahankara, the jivatma will go on expanding. The consciousness will go on expanding, and it will become one with the infinite. You will become a Sthita Prajna. So becoming a Sthita Prajna can also feed your ego if you don't understand it properly. Oh, I want to become a Sthita Prajna. How can you become a Sthita Prajna? The I is standing out first, no? Remove that I, then you will automatically be a Sthita Prajna, but you will not flaunt it. Sir, I want to do the Yoga Sankirtan. You cannot do Yoga Sankirtan. I want to do sadhana. Sadhana is in removing that I only. I want to understand the Bhagavad Gita. I want to gain the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is nothing but removal of I. So we bring that I first and then create a contradiction. And then we want the spiritual fruits. So the entire sadhana is to remove the emphasis from that conditioned I. All the glory goes to that infinite supreme God, not to any individual. We have the tendency to take the credit for every little thing. Some people take the credit for what others do also. That is complete deterioration, you know. See, at least if you do something and then you take the credit, there is some logic in that madness. But what others do I know people who take credit for that. Then means the madness has reached a very, very high level. We can say it is PhD in madness, So this understanding of this construction, nirahankara, will give you such a deep insight. It'll give you the real purpose of your sadhana, the real purpose of all these sessions which we are doing, which we are having. So if you are regularly attending the Sunday sessions, if you are attending all the empowerments, you should become very, very humble, not artificially humble. See, there also, when people say, I bow down to you, now there also that I only comes. I'm not talking of the word I, I'm saying the feeling. Everything is always centered, self-centeredness. It's centered around that ego. So that can be overcome by getting attuned to the higher, by getting attuned to God, to the infinite. The more you get attuned to the higher, the less will be your ahankara. So as a sadhana, just bring in that awareness. Don't try to stifle your ego. Don't try to use force and conquer it. It will not work that way. I am only trying to increase the awareness, objectively become aware of what is happening within you. I'm saying, when I say what is happening within you. I'm not talking of external happenings here. Just see the play of ahankara. Your very manifestation, the talk, whatever you're speaking, whatever you're doing, everything, how it is coming from that aham. It is an interesting movie which is going on within you. It will become very interesting, this very process of purification, if you approach it objectively. Otherwise, you will become very affected by the whole thing. That is also ego only. Sir, I want to remove that I. Before you say I want the removal of I, your emphasis is on I only again. Ego cannot be removed by ego. I cannot remove that I, the ego. It is only the higher force which can dissolve the ego by expanding it and completely, allowing that ego to merge with it. The very karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, meditation, any kind of sadhana you take, the yoga sankirtan sadhana, everything is designed to shift your attention, to shift your focus from the conditioning of the ego and get attuned to that supreme reality. You may call it Shiva, you may call it Narayana, you may call that supreme reality a Shakti, goddess. That is all how you relate to that infinite. But it all refers to that one supreme infinite power. Okay, so we will stop with that. It's a very powerful message which has been given. Just allow it to sink within your personality. As I told you, even a small percentage of this, if you allow it to sink within you, that can create a radical transformation. Now, in the coming sessions, we will go into more depth. I'll give you some more dimensions of nirahankara. As I told you, the whole thing cannot be given at one go, but a few I'll give here, and then we'll also see what is nirmamaha. Okay, so we'll stop with that. Before the meditation, I will take up one question. Whatever questions are being asked about Yoga Sankirtan, right now I am giving preference to that, and I am taking, because we are going to have the Yoga Sankirtan intensive course in April. So this is a question asked by Ashish Garg. Dear Gurudev, greetings and gratitude. Hari Om. So first of all, I will like to thank you to provide for providing continuous guidance on the spiritual journey. I would like to share an experience. Recently, myself along with my full family got infected from COVID. We could easily sail through this period and kept doing daily sadhana of prana tattva meditation material. Daily sadhana gave so much strength, and we realized how powerful tool it is. Yes, the only thing is, as I mentioned about this even in the 10-day healing program, see, this phase of COVID and all that is a passing phase. Every now and then something like this will keep coming. It could be related to a virus, or it could be related to recession, the market, they say the market is crashing, finance is going down, recession, something or other is bound to happen. So generally what happens is, see, let's take the COVID case. The COVID will slowly go away, but the impression which it created in your mind will remain. So that is what you need to be careful about. What do I mean by the impression which it has created in your mind? The fear, even as a normal seasonal cold which you may get, immediately the first thought which will come into your mind is, could it be COVID? If that is happening to you, then that is fear. So don't give too much of value. I'm not talking of you in particular. I'm saying this, generally speaking, don't give so much of value to these viruses and bacteria. Yes, do whatever has to be done objectively, whatever cautions, this, that and all they're saying, that is and all fine. But never ever get into the fear mode. So I'm quite happy that you could easily sail through that period. It is not a big deal for a sadhak. That's what I'm saying. Today it is COVID, and then some other challenge will come. Life is full of some challenge or other. The very idea of these sessions and the sadhana material and all, and the empowerment, everything, is to get you to a state where you become quite light about all these things. They should not become heavy on you. That is the whole idea. So during these days, I additionally did Yoga Sankirtan evening or before sleeping. It used to give so much calmness. Now after recovery, I feel like doing one of the meditations before sleeping as well. My question is, two questions he has asked. Number one, is it okay to do one of the meditation in the evening in addition to morning sadhana? No. Please follow the whatever dosage which has been prescribed. See, just as with respect to medicine, it is not about the medicine alone, dosage is very important. Similarly, with respect to these higher sadhanas, now stick to the dosage which has been given to you. So, okay, when there is a deep challenge which you are confronting, that time, you do the Yoga Sankirtan in the morning, and evening you can do the Kaya Tattva Sadhana, Prana Tattva, just till you become, till you recover. That is okay. But on a regular basis, follow whatever sequence has been given. It is not a one-day affair. It is a long-term building. Too much of energy also is you will not be able to handle it. As we move to move further at higher and higher levels, I will go on increasing the intensity of the energy, and I may even give some other, I may add a few other sadhanas also apart from the morning thing. So we will see it that time. Number 2, during COVID times I was listening to Yoga Sankirtan while lying down before going to sleep. Same trend continues now as well. Is it okay to fall asleep while listening? Most of the times I sleep off at the third or fourth step itself. Thank you once again, sir, for all the guidance and love. Sincerely yours, Ashishkar. No, it is not okay if you listen to Yoga Sankirtan lying down. That is, see, once in a while if you want to do it like that, it is okay. Generally, you should sit straight and do, keep your spinal cord straight in the vertical position and do these higher sadhanas. That is the best. If you are unable to do due to some medical condition, then it is fine. But otherwise, sitting with your spine erect vertically is the most conducive for the Shakti to rise. Is it okay to sleep, you're asking? It's not a crime or something if you sleep. But if you lie down and listen, chances are you'll fall off to sleep. So that is why I'm saying you should sit and do. So do the sadhana once a day. Don't get over excited about it and overdo it also. Once a day, follow the prescribed course. 1 week do Yoga Sankirtan, 1 week do the Kaya Tattva material, 1 week again do Yoga Sankirtan, 1 week do the Prana Tattva. Like that, whatever has been prescribed to you, if you do it, over a period of time, the cumulative effect will be tremendous. See, cumulative effect is the key when it comes to spirituality. Not merely one particular session. That's why I'm saying you should not give breaks. So, as far as in the night is concerned, if you want to get some peaceful sleep and all that, you can, if at all, I'm saying, you can take up the meditation from the Sunday discourse and just listen to that for 5-10 minutes, that meditation portion. 5 to 10 minutes, I think we have every Sunday. And then you'll feel so relaxed, you'll fall off to sleep after that. In the future, we'll see, I'll come up, there's so much to, so many things which right now are being focused on that I didn't get time. But when I get some time, I'll definitely give some material to be done, just before sleep, and then one material to be done early in the morning as soon as you wake up. So some help we will see. Some help can be provided. Okay. So I hope this is clear to everyone. Don't in the over enthusiasm, don't overdo it. It is very important. Right now, till the empowerment session, do the preparatory meditation that has already been given to all the registered sadhaks. So do that in the morning. As soon as you get up, you can just play that and energize yourself. That is going to prepare you for the intensive empowerment which we are going to have. Okay. So with this we will do the meditation now, Nididhyasana. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. Inhale fully and exhale completely. With every breath, I am getting into a state of deep relaxation. I am not this body. This body is outside me. The breathing is happening to the body. I am a silent witness. I am not these various emotions. They are all outside me. I am a silent witness. I am not these various thoughts. They are all outside me. I am a silent witness. I am one with that infinite, supreme God consciousness. I offer my gratitude to God Supreme, I offer my gratitude to my Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes, rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. We had a very deep session today. In the meditation also, I had taken you very deep within yourself. This is the center of true spirituality. So when you keep exposing yourself to these kinds of sessions, whenever we attack the root, that actually literally pushes you to the next level. So casually, seriously, in whatever way you want, soak yourself in these principles. If required, you see today's session several times. Every time you see, that's going to give you a lot of energy. It's going to take you more deep. Okay. So many other questions related to Yoga Sankirtan empowerment has been asked, the Yoga Sankirtan intensive. So one question is, what are we going to do in intensive? We are going to have 2 rounds of Yoga Sankirtan. So it's a great opportunity for you all to receive the higher empowerment. So the energy will be more intense, and to do the 2 rounds of sadhana with the master is going to make you very powerful. And the focus is going to be this time on building the inner power. Because what is missing today is that inner power only. When so many challenges are coming your way, it is the inner power alone which can help you, which can save you. Other questions related to what you will be doing, what is Yoga Sankirtan? One person has asked, what exactly is Yoga Sankirtan? Now all that you will come to know when you come for the empowerment. One more thing is, some people have asked whether they can register their aged parents. Some of them are unable to sit, they are bedridden and all that. This is a higher level program. So first I thought only the sadhaks, but I got the higher instructions to also give healing to those people who are unable to do the sadhana due to health issues and all that. So that is fine, but in case you are registering someone like that, please make a mention of that, so that those names are given to me separately. Okay, but otherwise don't register and say I'll just lie down and do. Please don't do that. Follow everything which is being given to you to the letter. That alone will help you. And for all the registered sadhaks, do the preparatory meditation every day in the morning. I have infused a lot of healing energy in that. That will work at the various levels of your personality. That preparation is very much essential for you to absorb the deeper energy, the higher Shakti which is going to be given. Okay? So thank you very much. We'll see you in the next session. Hari Om.